Welcome to the Chamber's Candidate Interview Series. I'm Christy Moore, and I serve as the president of the Dawson County Chamber of Commerce. On June 9th, the primary election will be held in Georgia, and early voting begins May 18th. In Dawson County, there are many local elections on the ballot. You may always view your sample ballot and polling location by visiting mvp.sos.ga.gov. One of the main areas of focus of our Chamber's strategic plan is advocacy. While we would typically host a forum for all candidates, due to the current pandemic and out of an abundance of caution that prioritizes the health and safety of the candidates and our staff, we are hosting in-depth candidate interviews instead. All candidates who are running for an office for which more than one candidate is running were invited to be interviewed. As a nonpartisan organization, we take seriously our role to promote issues of benefit to our businesses and community, as well as support the promotion of information about upcoming elections. The Chamber does not endorse a particular party or particular candidates. We have worked diligently to ensure that these candidate interviews are fair to the participants and informative to our members and audience. Candidates were not given the questions prior to being interviewed. Questions were submitted by Chamber members and were predetermined by the Chamber's Advocacy Committee. Similar to a forum, each candidate will be given 3 minutes to give an opening statement, and we'll have 2 minutes to answer each question. Today, I am joined by Marcus Sewell, who is running to be the next Dawson County Sheriff. Marcus, would you like to kick us off with your opening statement?
Yes, thank you, Christy, and thank you to the Chamber for hosting this virtual event. And I'd like to thank y'all for letting us get our voice out there. And I am Marcus Sewell, and I'm a candidate for Dawson County Sheriff. I've lived here since 1987. My family moved to Dawson County from Forsyth County when I was a little boy, and I've grown up here, graduated high school in Dawson County. After high school, I went on to college and wrestled up at Anderson University. Since then, the last 16, almost 17 years, I've been in law enforcement. I've worked my way up from the jail division as a detention officer, all the way up to a sergeant in the jail, to patrol for a few months. Then I was recruited by Lumpkin County to be assistant jail commander. Since I've been in Lumpkin County, I have commanded 4 different divisions with the jail, special services, and that's with narcotics and animal control and victims advocate and K-9 deputies and stuff like that, and records. And also in the last 3 years, I've commanded investigations. That's from any kind of investigation, from drugs to shoplifting to murders or anything like that. But over the vast majority of my career, I've been a commander for 9 years out of the 16 to 17 years that I've been in law enforcement. Been able to lead the men and women of Lumpkin County up there for the last 9 years in the various roles of the job. And I've taken pride in the things that I've been able to accomplish and help accomplish in Lumpkin County. Been involved in the community over the last 11 years with Sheriff Stacy Gerard. Sheriff Gerard is a great community sheriff and gets his people involved within the community. And so a lot of the things I've done, I've learned from him. He's been a great mentor to me to get involved in the community. And I believe as sheriff, you have to be involved in the community and making sure that you give them back and that you're being involved with the kids, the schools, and the adults and the businesses inside the community. Because I believe it's important for us to be able to lead different people to make sure that we're reaching out to different agencies and organizations inside the community.
Absolutely. Well, share with us why you want to be Dawson County Sheriff.
Well, Christy, I've been praying for this over the last 2 years. And I always tell people God does not call the qualified, he qualifies the called. And over the last 2 years, like I said, I've been praying, and it's not where I woke up one morning and decide, hey, I'm going to run for sheriff. You know, I believe God calls preachers and he puts people on paths to do certain things and to make so his light will shine through them. And so, but, you know, I'm a servant to my God, my family, and my community. But I want to make sure the citizens have a safe place to live, work, and raise their families, and not have to worry about the high crime rates. I want to make sure that we're protecting the children from the dangers of the world, and so they can receive education and achieve their dreams. Because that's the overall picture, is making sure the kids grow up in a safe neighborhood and a safe community that they can achieve their dreams. But also to protect the seniors from being scammed. You know, over the last a few years, we see all these scams where seniors are losing their retirements and everything else. But also make sure that your tax dollars are not going to waste, and they're benefiting each and every citizen in this community. We saw far too often where people get in power and they spend money like it's their own. And I want to make sure that we know that it's not their own; it's the people's money. And I want to make sure that the citizens know where their money's going to, and we're a transparent agency, and we're not wasting money on different things, and making sure we're not duplicating services that the county already does. And so it's all about service to this community, protecting each and every citizen and business in the community.
Well, thank you. Well, due to the current pandemic, we anticipate that Dawson County may have a flat or even lower budget for the next fiscal year than the current budget. How do you plan to use our current resources to meet the needs of law enforcement?
I'm always reaching out there for resources or grants or stuff like that to make sure that we have everything we need to make sure to serve and protect this community. I'm not a person that takes so much pride in myself that I don't ask for help. And that's the reason why over the last 4 years while being over commander over investigations, we partner with the GBI task force for drugs, drug interdiction and drug investigations. We partner with the FBI Safe Streets to make sure, we can have more agents and investigators to help us on different cases. But also, talking about the budgets like that during the pandemic, over the last, since 2017, the budget has went from 7.6 million to 9.3 million dollars. That's probably about a 20% increase. And so, the department hasn't gained really probably 2 employees since then. And I want to make sure that we, the budget, I guarantee will be cut next year. There's no way it's going to sustain a $9.3 million budget in the sheriff's office with the pandemic we're in. We're losing tax money everywhere, every day, because people have lost their jobs and businesses have shut the doors. And so, we'll be reaching out to making sure that we're cutting back on some things and giving, like I said earlier, the duplicated services that the county already does with purchasing and HR, give that back to them, refocus the sheriff's office to make sure that we're doing what law enforcement agencies are supposed to be doing, and that's serving and protecting. And we're not doing the bidding process. We're not doing purchasing stuff and not having to worry about different things, but making sure we put boots on the ground and as many boots as we can with the budget we're under.
Perfect. Well, to follow up to that, if elected, what would your financial priorities be with the Sheriff's Department budget?
My financial priorities is making sure we have enough employees, deputies, whether it's jail deputies, patrol deputies, or investigators, to make sure that we have enough to work inside this county, and make sure that we have the districts covered or the zones covered with enough deputies, making sure we have enough investigators to be able to investigate the crimes in a timely fashion, not waiting a week to 2 weeks to investigate a crime, because that when that time passes, then the leads go cold. And making sure, 400 is an important piece of Dawson County for us. I know it is for the chamber, because when you bring the businesses in, we don't have to go for Cy County or to Hall County to buy groceries or clothes like we used to when I first moved here. And but we also got to understand that we have 183 and 52 and 136 on the other side of the county that has houses and people live there. So we got to make sure we serve them just like we serve the people, the businesses on 400. If we have 5 working shift, I can't send 4 to 400. That's the reason why I believe we should make sure we have enough deputies during the high times between 5:30 in the morning, it's probably 11 o'clock at night. Make sure you got the most visibility with your deputies out on the road. And I believe the whole county should be covered. But like I said, you have to get money within the budget and give it to making sure that you have the deputies, make sure they're getting paid well. But you also got to tell them, the chamber, the citizens of this county did not pick me or anybody else to get law enforcement. We chose this profession, and it's to serve. But when a person above you keeps preaching money, 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 then that person that's working is always going to think money over service. And that's wrong in law enforcement because we get into this for the service of the people.
Absolutely. Well, you've mentioned a little bit about this already, but are there functions that are currently performed by the sheriff's office that you believe could be accomplished in partnership with the county or city, or even outsourced in order to prevent a duplication of services?
Yes, I've talked about it many times to people when I go door to door, purchasing, HR, stuff like that. And I've been lucky. I've worked with the great county, Lumpen County, and to be a commander in Lumpen County under Station Gerard, you better know how to be an operational commander, an administrative commander, because you do it all yourself. I don't have a secretary. And so we work directly with the county government, the county administration, with purchasing, with finance, with HR. If we have an issue, there's no reason why there should be a middle person to go from the sheriff's office to the county. And so, I would refocus the sheriff's office and reassign those positions because we're wasting taxpayer dollars on two services that the county already performs. And there's probably more once you look into it and you look into the actual, the job classifications. And when you start looking at that stuff, there's probably more that you can eliminate because I want to make sure that the people know the sheriff's office is here to serve them if in a law enforcement type of way and not in this other stuff that the county already performs. I want to make sure that everything we do benefits them. And there's no reason why that the county government and the sheriff's office should be doing the same thing when one can get the job done with one individual or whatever, however the county has it set up.
Thank you. Well, Dawson County has become a retail hub, as you know, for our region, with thousands of non-residents passing through and shopping in our county every single day. What steps do you intend to take in order to protect existing and developing businesses?
I want to make sure that the sheriff's office has a great working relationship with the chamber, but also, and through that, is making sure the chamber gets us involved with different businesses and doing different instruction classes with businesses and employees and their businesses to make sure they can protect themselves and know what to look for if somebody comes in that's casing their business out, so they can notify law enforcement, so we can go ahead and jump on it, and if we can take somebody to jail, we can do that. But I want to be able to get involved so we can put on classes for businesses and really get involved in community. And that's a thing that we've done in Lumpen County and going there and showing them whether it's counterfeit money, showing what to look for, and whether scams, people trying to do a scam or how people are trying to go to gas stations and take out the card readers and put in theirs and make sure they take the safety precautions to protect the citizens also, because that's the people that helps us in our job in law enforcement. Is you got to work directly with people that own businesses so they can look for certain things to notify us.
Absolutely. Well, what do you view as the strengths of the Dawson County Sheriff's Office and what areas need improvement? And how would you plan to address the areas that need improving?
Their strength, they have good people. They have real good people. They got a mixed type of veteran law enforcement officers, and they have some young great deputies that are there. And the thing that I think they're failing in right now is leadership. They have nobody to lead by example, and that's my whole thing. I'm not a sit behind the desk person. I jump out there with the troops and do the job with them. And when the troops see that you're involved with them, then they will work twice as hard. And I want to make sure that we bring good leaders in, and I believe there's leaders there that will embrace their role of being a leader if you let them do it. You got to be able to let them to open their wings so they can take off and do things. But when you're holding them back from really doing the full extent of their job, then it hampers their ability to lead. I'm not a person that likes supervisors. I know on lower level management areas you have supervisors, but I like leaders because leaders jump in there. They're in the front. They're not behind with a whip, tell somebody to do something. They're leading by example. And so that's a big thing. And in the budget, that's a huge mistake right now, because we're paying for services. We're paying for people to come paint the facility when we have inmates there that can paint it. When you spend $40,000 and stuff like that on something the inmates can do, I like to put the inmates out to work with the county and with the city maintenance crews to help them save dollars and save tax dollars for the citizens. And so that's some of the things, the leadership in the budget.
How do you envision the sheriff's office partnering with our largest employer, the school system, to help ensure the safety of Dawson County students and, of course, teachers and staff?
You got to have real good SROs when you're to be able to partner with the school system. I mean, they got a ton of employees and a lot of students, and you make sure that your SROs know what their job function is, and that's to get in there and serve and protect the schools, just like we would in the community. Making sure they're doing everything they can and getting there and being involved, not just being a deputy to just walk around, but actually being involved in the school system. And I see a lot of them are involved, and that's what I hope to continue when elected sheriff, is making sure we're involved in there and doing different things with them, doing different instructional courses for the teachers and for the students to make sure that we stay ahead of the game, and making sure that keep doing a Dare Chance program. That's a program that gives the kids choices and understand that they have a choice to do right or wrong. And but I always want to make sure that the kids know that we're there for them. And I always tell people this, Christy, that I got in law enforcement to serve. Some people say, well, I got in law enforcement to put people in jail. That's the wrong reason, because we got to serve and protect the citizens. And the first word is serve. And people are going to go to jail because some people decide to break the law. But, we're here to serve the whole community. And that's the school system, being involved with the superintendent and the Board of Education to make sure that we're there for them. And one thing I want to cut out is the traffic control. We already have guys and women working in the sheriff's office that can handle traffic control. And I pledge that Marcus Sewell will be out there directing traffic as sheriff. That's what I believe. I believe my commanders will be out there directing traffic as commanders inside the sheriff's office. There's no reason why this school should have to pay somebody an hourly wage of 25 to 30 minutes to stay out there and do traffic when we're already working. And so I'll make a pledge that we will be doing the traffic for the schools.
Absolutely. Well, you've spoken a little bit about this as well, but how do you plan to maintain visibility and accessibility of the sheriff's office and deputies in the community?
Well, I hope we can add some more deputies, after we refocus and reassign some stuff inside the agency, to bring more deputies out and make them more proactive, be in the neighborhoods. And, like I said earlier, you got those peak times of 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning to about 11, 12 o'clock at night. Make sure you have the most people on the road working at that time, and that, that they are visible, and we're not just sitting around, but we're being proactive inside the neighborhoods, inside the shopping centers, and make sure that we're people see us, because that's the big thing to me. I live in a subdivision, and I love to see a patrol deputy drive through. But another thing on that is, during the summers or when the SROs are off and they're not at school, they're not doing a summer program, that they're riding through the neighborhoods, and if they see somebody outside, to stop and say, hey, or that's just a regular deputy too, or an investigator. As a citizen, if law enforcement stops by my house just to see how I'm doing, or wants to know what's going on in my neighborhood, that's what I want the people to do. If I get elected sheriff, for me, I want them to stop by businesses and go in there and talk to the people for a couple minutes, not stay all day, but go in there and talk to them and see what's going on, to see if they have any crime trend might be popping up or inside the neighborhoods. I want the deputies and the investigators and everybody at the sheriff's office to be involved with the community and making sure that the community knows who they are.
Working within the parameters of the current sheriff's office budget, what is your plan and strategy to recruit and retain quality officers and staff?
I like to work with our neighboring college, University of North Georgia, because they got that the program, criminal justice program, where they get certified in law enforcement out there at the academy. And I've taught with the instructors up there and professors, and work closely with them. And hopefully we can, bring them in. But also, it's, you got to have a positive morale inside the sheriff's office to keep people. You got to have good leadership. People got to know you care about them. I mean, that's just, it used to be a little harder back in the days, and you didn't have to show as much caring and stuff like that, but generations have changed. But you really do. I mean, we come to work, and sometimes you get in situations you don't know if you're going home at nighttime or in the morning time, whenever you get off shift, because something might pop up. And so, but you gotta let people know you care, and that you're fighting for them, whether it is getting more money that they deserve. And I believe that. I believe a deputy employed sheriff's office shouldn't have to worry about where their next meal's coming from. If they have to, all that stuff, I want to make sure that they can pay their bills and, enjoy a nice vacation with their salary. But we knew that we would not become millionaires in this profession. That's not the reason why we do it, to serve the community and hopefully pass it on through our families that we're servants. And so, but, with standards in place, we have to keep retention, make sure you're positive, make sure that you have good leadership, and this, you don't have somebody that's always down, down in somebody, but it starts at the top. The retention don't start at the bottom, it starts at the top. So however the sheriff acts, then the people are going to act. If the sheriff is positive and don't make excuses and keeps fighting for his people, then they'll stay.
Great. Well, kind of following up on that, share with us how you will maintain accountability and integrity within your department.
We'll follow our policies and procedures and our standards. Right now, this time, up under Billy Carlisle, the agency did get certified through the state certification with the standards. And so, and that's hiring practices, that's promotional practices, and everything within. And, if somebody does something, we're human beings. That's first and foremost. We make mistakes, and it's owning up to the mistakes. I've made many mistakes, Christy. I've done stupid things in my life. Some things I regret, some things I'm very ashamed of. But like I tell everybody, I'm an open book. If you ask me a question, I'll answer it. Sometimes it might not be the answer that you want to hear, but it's going to be the truth. I'm not going to make an excuse for my past. I'm very open and honest about it. But if to have integrity, if you see somebody might be getting closer to the line or about to step over, you got to nip in the butt right then. You can't let it go on. And so make sure that when you hear something, that we take care of it at that point in time. We don't let something drag on and drag on and drag on. And I saw that in this administration, they've let stuff drag on and try to cover it up and try to make excuses, and that's wrong for the community, because it not only does it look bad on the agency, it looks bad as a community. And so when we hear stuff, and so it's making sure that you take care of it right when it happens, not let it drag out. If something happens, to making sure you follow your policies, and making sure that like I told you earlier, nobody chose me or these other deputies in the state to be in law enforcement. We chose this job. We chose the standards. And that's how we should live by, and that's higher standards than anybody else.
Absolutely. Well, in the age of social media, when videos can go viral in an instant, what would you do to protect your officers and citizens? For example, would you provide body cameras?
Oh yes, 100%. They should have got body cameras 3 years ago. Like I brought up earlier, you spent $40,000 painting the facility. Should have got $40,000 and bought body cameras. That's a big liability. And you want to trust your people. You do. And I tell people there's few great sheriffs, because you got your citizens and you got your employees, and you never can put one above the other. They're on the same playing field. So when a citizen comes to you and says, "Hey, your deputy done this," and whose word are you going to take, the citizens or the deputies? So that now this you don't have to choose between, because you have video. when something happens, you got policy in place when the video comes on and stuff like that. It protects your deputies just as much as the citizens. And it's big. I was over the jail for 3 years at Lumpkin County, and I worked inside the jail for about 6 years total of my career. And that's the biggest liability inside the sheriff's office. And so, understanding liability, this is another step that you take body cameras and put them on people because you don't want to have to pay a lawsuit. And there's many ways we can get sued every day. But if there's something out there we can eliminate it by, then you use it. And body cams is one of those things. Whether it's if a shooting happens or something like that, it protects the deputy. Because if the deputy goes on scene and has to take someone's life, that's something that you need. And people say we got car cameras. Well, an in-car camera does not go in somebody's house. And so, but I think it's a great tool, and I believe it has saved taxpayer dollars. And so it's huge inside law enforcement right now. And I believe that'd be one of the first things that I would purchase after looking at the budget, to making sure the money is there and getting with the commissioners and be able to justify that. Because I believe that the commissioners would agree 100%. Anything that will improve liability for us, they would go along with.
Great. Well, we know that Dawson County businesses pay or generate the majority of the county budget that funds the sheriff's office. Given that fact, why should a business owner vote for you?
Well, I want them to know that I'm, 100% for them and the citizens of this county. I want to make sure that we're there serving both. Because a lot of business owners live inside Dawson County, so they are citizens. But they bring, funds to the general budget. And without them, deputies couldn't get paid what they do get paid, and we couldn't have the money in our budget to be able to provide the tools and resources to be a better agency. And some people don't understand that because they just think that property tax dollars goes to the budget. That's not true, because the businesses on 400 and around the county generate a certain tax that goes to the sheriff's office and to the budget. But I want them to know that I'm there for them, and I will be putting on classes to help keep them safe and being involved, making sure the sheriff's office is more involved in with that business, with any business in the county, because I want to make sure we're not just one side with one business and not with the other. I want to make sure we're working with all the businesses, and they're all important to us. Like I said earlier, talking about classes and instructional stuff for scams and things of that nature, whether it's active shooter stuff, that's some things I'd like to put in place and make sure businesses get very involved in that, and being involved with the chamber and with the events, and making sure the deputies are too.
Great. Well, we've enjoyed our time with you. So if there's anything that we haven't asked you about or anything you'd like to share with us, we'd love for you to share your closing statement with us.
Yes. Thank you, Christy. Like I said earlier, thank you very much for doing this. And I know these times is rough, and during this pandemic, and it's hard for anybody to get out. I know people wanted to forum and things, but thank you to the chamber for allowing us to do this. But ladies and gentlemen, like I said, and as I have said many times, I prayed for 2 years about this, and I truly believe this is where God has led me to be. I will do my best to make Dawson County a better, safer place for my family and yours, because I invested in this community just as much as you are. I have not talked enough about your tax dollars, but like I said, over the last 3 years, the budget has increased from 7.6 to $9.3 million. Only 25,000 people in this county. We're a county where I come from has 33,000 people with a $5.8 million budget. Now I know Johnson has said this is not Lumpkin County, but let me tell you this right here. We are a fortunate county to have the businesses we have in 400 to make sure that we can have the budget. I'm not arguing what the budget is. I'm arguing what it's been spent on. There's no reason why we should be painting the facilities when we have inmates in there that can paint the facilities and save the county, and could probably hire another position to be on the road and working to serve you as a citizen. And so, you know, the sheriff has a purchasing manager and HR that already duplicates searches the county already has. I want to make sure that we refocus and reassign those positions to the county and make sure we have positions that benefit you as a citizen. And so, lastly, I want to make sure that citizens know that Marcus Sewell is here to serve y'all. I'm not here for power or anything else, but I'm here for you, the citizens. I've been here since I was a little boy, growing up here, graduated high school here, and got my real first career in law enforcement here in Dawson County. And so I'm here to serve you. And I humbly ask for your vote, your support, most of all your prayers. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Marcus, for sharing this time with us today. And we encourage everyone to watch these videos and feel free to share them, but also make sure you know where your voting place is, and we will continue to share this information. But thank you for your time.